Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wildcard podcast. It's good to have G back as we thank Short for the last two episodes playing Super Sub. We're back, a new episode. We're going to reveal the T4 theme, even though it's already been revealed. We'll have G and I cover that. Got a little bit of some D2 matches to talk about as we're starting to get close to the end of the season as we wind down Meteorological May. That's a tongue twister as always. Again to that, a little bit of some off-table announcements which we'll talk about. And, of course, Super League and the fun stuff that revolves around the playoffs. G, it's good to have you back. It's been a long time since we did one of these, man, with you and me. What's been the vibe the last month as you've been more taking a backseat? Obviously, you're already locked into the BKK as well. But what's been the vibe as we continue to break down a lot in D1 action and D2 action alike?
Oh man, again, it's good to be back, but a lot of traveling and also just graduating has kind of thrown my availability all over, and I wasn't really able to lock in with as much of the breakdown for the matches for Movie May, so Shore was able to give a better input on that one, so thank him for stepping in there. But now we're back, got a new tournament coming up, and it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of storylines going into this one. We're getting to the point where we have to keep an eye out for potential relegation conversation. We also have a Super League bubble to talk about. First Super League reveal show just happened, and it's going to be an interesting one. But I mean, before we jump into it, do you want to start with the theme or do you want to go with the Super League reveal show first?
Now we'll go with the Super League. That's our first agenda. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, the first two tournaments, if you're just new to the program, were not Super League reveals. Of course, March was never. But the new thing is we did a top 25 countdown. We're going to call it the MRE D1 top 25. I know it's quote-unquote AP poll, but I want to be a little bit more unique to the league. We'll call it the top 25 MRE D1 polls. And, well, for that, the last person on top was myself. G was number 2. We'll have a little bit of a shuffle here coming up we'll talk about. But the first Super League reveal is NG. It's been a crazy couple weeks with that. We've had a lot of parity. I'm going to kind of go through the 5. Of course, Cody Lamas, shout out Cody, does the beautiful bat drop, what you'll see on the thumbnail with our podcast, as we'll kind of can see on the theme, which we'll talk about. But he does the classic revealed graphics, and he adds something special. He added the first 5 guys out, which were 26 through 30. We'll go through that real short. We'll go through the top 25. But I do want to just, I guess you'd say, bounce around a little bit because there's other things we've added. Strength of schedule, top 25 wins. There's a lot of things we did add to the program. So let's go to it real quick. Coming in at number 30 will be background character at 3-3. Carson at 4-3 from Texas 29. Lara and R respectively. Lara 28, R 27. Both at 3-3. And Clay at 4-3 and number 26. First guy out of the top 25. NJ Texas, Canada, Texas, Wales. Couple things to note here. Carson, we wish him the best, is out for the season. We'll talk about some of these guys as we go. He is done for the year. We wish him the best, but he will be back next year. He has 4 wins. It's just something more private matter we won't discuss. But excluding him, G, of Clay, R, Lara, BC, I'd have to say the biggest winner of this group, it's got to be Art. I mean, Art was 48, 49, almost 50 on people's lists, maybe 51. He makes a massive jump. Clay takes a hit outside top 25, background loses, and Lara loses, but are the big winner of this. Would you agree, or do you feel one of these people can make a run coming up here in T4?
I think the biggest thing here is Art's the only one in this group who had a big run in the last tournament, so I would say yes. Because everyone else was in or around this range in the last one. Background has been consistent, but I think the biggest problem for him is he cannot get past that round 32. And you kind of see that with his ranking here, number 30. He's definitely in a spot where he's in the middle of the pack, but I know his aspirations are to try to make the Super League this season, and right now, not a good spot. You're going to have to find a way to break through that round of 32 specifically. Carson, again, done for the year, wish him the best, but he'll be a non-factor going forward since he's done. Lara had a bit of a boom tournament in Automotive April, but kind of went back to what they're typically been doing in Movie May. We'll see if they can try and do something similar to April in the next tournament, and maybe if they do that, there'll be someone to look out for on the bubble going into Tournament 5. And then Ard. I mean, Ard did make the regional finals, but I think the problem and why he's not in the top 25 is he didn't really get any massive wins. He got some decent wins here and there, but I don't think there was anything that was like a massive statement win. Like he didn't get a win over Nick or or you or Myth, who's been a really big contender so far. So um, I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of these people in this group right now. They just do not have quality wins at the moment for the most part to jump into that top 25. So I think that's kind of why they stick out. But I mean, they're still in contention to possibly jump into the bubble picture, especially with a big tournament 4 run.
I'm going to say out of those 4, because we don't count Carson, I think the most momentum's Zard, but I'm actually going to go with Larahua. I actually think Larahua could find something. There's a good opportunity. Usually, sometimes people come off the sweeps. Well, Larry got swept by Cody. That gives you a little more fuel to the fire. I think that's going to be the one to watch for me. G. Background character. I'm actually, I'm not really concerned anymore about him anymore in terms of round 1. He's 3-0 in round 1. It's just round 2. It's been a nightmare, and that's where we got to really talk about him. Clay is just. You're thinking, okay, how is he not in there? He's got, but his strength of schedule, his wins are nowhere to be found. We'll talk about that, and just to kind of elaborate on that, background character, no top 25 wins. Ard had, I believe,
I think
don't think he had one either.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, I think Ard had 1.
Yeah, remember we updated some stuff. Art actually did have 2, but that's changed. A couple other things. Carson doesn't matter, and then Clay, I don't think he had 1. So, or he had 1. He had 1. So a lot of these guys were in the back of the pack on that, and they also didn't have the best SOSs. I think out of that group, we'll talk about that more. The best one was background character, basically at a .595, but that's going to change as well as we continue to go into. Now we'll go into the top 25 here, Gene. This is where it gets good. Coming in at 25, Captain at 3-3. Of course, from Latvia. Acosta, probably the shocker, 3-3 from New York. Caesar at 4-3 from Brazil. Anjak, of course, the OG champ from Illinois. And California, his Ghost 21st rounding out. Anjak 22nd. You look at Cap. He hasn't won since March. He has a crazily losing streak. It's unlike Cap. Acosta with a heater run. You had his last game against Avian. I believe you streamed that one. What a one for him. Similar to Art. Very good for him. Caesar, it's been. Normally you think Jay Caesar resume stinks, but he did have one caveat, which we'll talk about. We'll kind of say that. And then Anjak had a solid run, lost the gold. Ghost, too much hit or miss from him all season. Thoughts on these 5, and then we'll kind of make a prediction on where we see these 5 going. What do you think, Eugene? Who stands out the most, excluding Acosta, because we know that's the biggest standout. Mr. 52, all his life.
I never thought we'd see the day where Acosta would be ranked higher than captain in Super League ranking, let alone Acosta being ranked in a Super League ranking, but that's where we are right now. Massive turnaround for Acosta in this past tournament, but I think out of this group, I mean, the only one that was in, Captain was in Super League last year, but he's been a bit whack so far, but the only other one is Ghost, and Ghost has been like a weird spot, but I don't think he's necessarily been not himself. It's just kind of been a bit of a slow start. I think he's someone who could definitely kick into overdrive here at some point and get himself back into contention here. But I mean, for the rest of this group, I mean, Caesar's kind of just in the spot he usually is. Captain's having worse starts this season than 2024. Acosta is, is here, which is pretty crazy. We'll see where he goes with that. And then Onjak's kind of like in a bit of a rebound, but he still needs some more work to get in there. But I would be most confident in Ghost jumping up higher compared in this group of 5, but we'll have to see.
Peter is a 2023 Super League. He'd be one of those guys that missed the year trying to get back. Had that loss to Verigold. I still want to believe Captain's the guy, G, because of course Captain has the pedigree. But I'm going to have to agree with you here just because I don't know where he's at with this low tide. Sometimes it can run its course. I'm going to say Ghost is probably the right answer. Hard to read on Peter Anjak. He's always hit or miss. Caesar, he needs a big caveat. We got it. Technically, he got it. He did get a big win, which you'll see with Pac, but that was an aged well victory. It wasn't at the beginning of the season. Pac was up there. Acosta, I can't even believe it. If at this point, G, he's probably the one you want to pick on house money. No one had him this far. No one even expected him to even be in the top 30, let alone 24. I think he was hanging out 52 every single time. He's been hanging around that 52nd spot. So he made a massive jump.
which is the last spot in the last spot to not be relegation also. So
Yeah, that is unbelievable. What a story. And if he can maybe win round one, then we start talking, oh, okay, then maybe we can start talking. Does he have a top 20 potential? A lot of interesting stuff with this group. All right, so now we'll go into the next four. Obviously, we're going to save the top 16 for later. So we'll have 2019 and the first two out. So the 20th coming in is Tapir 5-3, Varigold, of course, Illinois, Michigan, right there 4-3 after the Final Four run. Chomig at 4-3, and then Vapor the first guy out. However, gee, out of this group, I don't know where to begin because Tapir had that really weird T3 where he had the win against who was it? Ghost, which gives him the tiebreaker, but he had DQ win against Knight, then lost to Abion. Varigold, not the best wins, of course, had an Ard win, had a Peter win, but not really much doing. Had a Clay win, but nothing really big.
Varigold did make the Final Four, though, so he jumped into this spot, this tournament, though, so he's thrown himself back into contention, which he has not been in the last season and a half.
That's true. It's finally starting to turn. Vapor, Chomig, obviously Chomig was in last year's Super League. You think naturally he'll be up there. Vapor last season. Where do you see with these four before we get to the guys that are actually... I think, you think about it, you think it's Peter last year, but it's kind of wide open with these four because they're all at 5-3 or 4-3, and we're doing our committee stuff. All four of these players have flaws in their resume. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for Tapir is he has no wins. Varigold, she's really kind of in a weird spot at the moment. Because, I mean, they just got the Final Four run to make it back into contention, but they still need more wins on their end to be somewhat in that top 16. Chomik's had such a weird season. He has some decent wins, but some bad losses. And then Vapor is kind of... It's like an above consistency to what he usually is, but he needs the wins because that's his biggest problem. Because I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a single top 25 win, which is like, that's not going to get you into the top 16 unless you have like 15 wins. So, probably not 15, more like 10. But yeah, it's kind of a interesting spot for all four, and I think they kind of all have kind of the same problem with like the win issue. Although Chomik has probably the best wins of this group, but the problem is he has some horrible losses. So yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for these people is just the win. That's going to be their biggest thing going forward, and none of these guys can afford a round of 64 exit whatsoever. That would be absolutely devastating for them in tournament 4, because that's going to throw them in a big hole going into the final tournament of the regular season. So I think for the biggest thing for these players is to make sure they get out of that round of 64 and then find that quality when they need to put themselves into the top 16.
It will be, Gene. When you look at those people, as I mentioned, if I had to pick one, I'm going to actually go with Tapir because we know what's coming. T4, he won this tournament last year. Nothing really crazy on the SOF. They were all mid-pack. I think the best one out of that group might have actually been, let me see. Yeah, no, none of them really, nothing really eye-popping, actually. Yeah, they were more at the bottom, but Vapor right around 50%. Chomig around 50, in fact, exactly at 50%. 0.5, yeah. Nothing eye-popping. These guys, Varigold 5-3-3, okay. And Tapir, actually, ironically, was at 50%. So, yeah, they're all mid-pack players for a reason. It makes sense. Not many top 25 wins, so... We'll kind of go individual here, G, with these first two in. Then we'll get to the rest. Coming in at 16, the last guy in, Abion from Indonesia, and then Ed from Wisconsin. Of course, he also shares a little bit of Illinois on the back end as well in the summer, but still Wisconsin for now. Would have thought, obviously, Abion was kind of in that 15 through 20 bubble last year. Your thoughts on Ed Zion? Because that's the story, G. The fact that he's here at 5-3, where he was in the 50s last year at some points. Now he's in the top 15. What a crazy scenario and story that is. Thoughts on those two, being the first two in?
I'll be on that with. I just had a big recovery tournament because I mean, Automotive April was simply a disaster for him, but Movie May was a massive recovery tournament, and he finds himself in the last spot in right now, looking to make Super League. He was on the bubble last season, did not end up making the field, but he's looking to be on the right side of the cut line this time. And then for Ziemba, I mean, this has definitely been his best season. I mean, 2023 was terrible. 2024 didn't start off great, but then he was able to find that big run in Tournament 3 to kind of revitalize himself. And then since Since that moment, he's been looking like a better player overall. So he's kind of evolved over the seasons, and now he's finally in a position where he's one of those bubble contenders. So right now, he finds himself on inside the top 16, but he's gonna have to keep fighting to make sure he stays that because that spot is very fragile for him right now.
I'm just floored. I was talking with Sanford about this. Ed Ziemba, man, that's the story. For Avion, we know he's got that lingering DQ loss. He's always going to have that for this season. He can shake it off with another big run. But for Ed, ever since that Yepes game last year with the light switching, where he finally decided to be Edison Ziemba, as we called him, as the nickname of among many, he changed his whole formula and it's worked. And I think for Ed, it's going to be an interesting path to see where he can go. Maybe one or two more wins and. So you start sniffing maybe that top of the group stage. That's where you want to be in this spot. You want to keep your spot, but you want to always think ahead. You want to think, what can I do? Top 10, maybe a top of the group stage. Double buys a little bit out there. Single buy maybe out there a little bit. But you have to start thinking about it for those people. All right, now we'll go 14 through 11. And coming in at 14, Brad just got his P2, one of the masters of T3. First and second to start your T3 career. It's pretty good. That's 1.5 average for Brad. Andy and Logan have been inseparable. 12 and 13. Logan on top. Andy from California right at the bottom. We'll talk about them in a minute. And then probably a little shocker, but not really. Lane is 6 and 3. Makes sense. His strength and schedule is holding him back. However, we had seen this movie before. If you're going to have that strength and schedule, you're either hoping for two things: one, more parity, or two, get yourself 10 wins or 9 or 10 wins and really leave a dent to be in this field. Thoughts on these 4G? Obviously, Lane and Brad made it last year in the Super League. Logan and Andy have been almost just neck and neck the whole season. Oh, it's unbelievable. Inseparable.
I mean, I've said that Logan and Andy had identical seasons, even to the point where their write-ups, I don't know how many people caught this, I literally just gave them the same template and then just changed a few of their words, kind of to just drive that point in. But, yeah, let's start with Brad first. I mean, Brad, good tournament to get himself back into it. But the problem is, he kind of needed that tournament win with how his season is, because now he's gonna have to get a good run in tournament 4 and tournament 5, because he is not safe right now. All 4 of those wins he got were in the same tournament, and if he can't do any of that the rest of the season, he might be in trouble. The finale run is good enough to get him into the top 16 for now, but he's gonna need to find something a little more. Andy, Logan, identical seasons. They actually had a hiccup, both at getting out in the round of 64, but I'm curious to see how that'll go, how long they will stay aligned for the duration of the season. And then Lane. I mean, Lane has 6 wins, so not in a bad spot, but I mean, again, the problem is he's 58th out of the realistically 62, because I mean, technically he's 64, but like Kevin H, their strength schedule is like in the dumps because they barely played any games. They were low seeds, so I don't really count them, but I mean, Lane is 58 out of 62nd, which is the second worst out of the people in the top 16. Only person worse is 59th Ed Ziemba. Lane needs to find something really quickly, because he's in a bit of a tough spot, because he also only has 1 top 25 wins, so the quality wins are not there right now. But he's kind of one of those examples where like you kind of have that quantity over quality right now, and if you have enough quantity, that can make up for the quality to make it into the field. But Lane is not really safe, because I don't know if 6 wins with barely any quality wins is going to be enough to make it. So he's going to still need to get those wins in tournament 4 and tournament 5. So I think for Lane, his concern is more just getting the wins instead of getting good wins. Because I mean, if he can just stack himself up to like 10 wins, and it's like it doesn't really matter if he only has like 1 quality win, he just has the wins to put himself in. But yeah, that's going to be Lane's biggest focus going into these last 2 tournaments for me.
Yeah, Lane has to, like you said, either go out there and put a set number, set a flyer, get 9, 10 wins, or hope to have 7, 8 wins. And gee, we have the 4th straight Final Four where 0 or 1 win guys. Start shaking it up, because if that happens, Jesus Lord, when is it going to end?
Oh, I have something to say about that later, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
Out of those four, though, right now it's a similar situation with Art and Acosta and Varigold. Brad's got the most momentum. The problem is Lane. You want to get a good game, but round 1 it may not be an actual good game for you. So where do you look? I have to look at Andy and Logan. I think out of those 2, I'm going to give the slight edge to Logan only because of SOS. But I think it's just because Logan's had more of a little bit more I know he just lost to Acosta, but that could age well. Andy had just lost to Ellison. By default, I'll give Logan the slight. I think he's going to have a little bit more momentum, but they've never been here before. They've never been this high in their career, at least in the rankings. They're on house money for sure. Anybody want to mention out of those four who you had the most confidence? Obviously, we know Brad with the most momentum for sure.
I would say Brad has the most momentum. I'd go with him. But again, we'll have to see. I mean, looking back at last season, to just kind of refresh my memory here, let me just pull this up for a second. The biggest thing for Brad is he had decent runs in the last two tournaments, so I would say that's where my confidence lays right now. But the problem is his start of the season was nowhere near as good. So, I guess we're just gonna have to find out and see how that goes. But I think Brad needs a good run in tournament. I need like a decent run in tournament 4, tournament 5, like at least make the round of 16 in both to make sure he's in Super League for the second season in a row.
Well, G, obviously this next one we're gonna have our own little segment here. Ashley, yeah, it's number 10, but now it's the retirement. I have a lot of great things to say about her. You know, the 18 months she was here with us were probably some of the best 18 months of Uno we've ever seen from a player. You know, there's the old adage that you want to go out on top. The fact that you go out still a top 10 player, really, if went on full beans and full locked in, probably a top 2 or 3 player, if not the best player in this league, 100%. There's not much to say. Obviously, there's still a chance she may still end up in the top 20 just by default because of 6 wins and not even playing the rest of the year. The thing with her, it's going to be more about just where she falls with the quad resume. But forget all that crap. I just want to wish her the best. Obviously, has way more important things to do in life, and she'll have a chance to maybe one day come back down, way down the road. But for now, I wish her the best. Anything you want to say? We had the ceremony. It was great. I thought that was a really good ceremony. You showed up, and I know a lot of people appreciated that too.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks Ashley had to, I guess, retire for. I wouldn't say it's like a retirement forever because I mean, I know she did open the door for a return at some point in the future. But again, her life's very chaotic with dental school and whatnot, and I do respect that because that's definitely a profession that takes a lot of time. So I wish the best of luck to her with that. But yeah, I mean, she was definitely one of the best players we've seen. Because I mean, she wasn't actually really here for that long, but she made such a massive impact. She won Super League last season, but also ironically for the second season in a row. Since Ashley's not coming back for the rest of the season, that's going to be the second season in a row the defending Super League champion will not be in the following year's Super League. So that's something maybe to watch out for going forward. But yeah, again, best of luck to Ashley in the future. But sucks to see her go. But we'll see. I guess who kind of takes advantage and tries to fill in that gap that Ashley's going to be leaving.
Well, you mean regular season? Because Yepes won Super League 23. He's still here. It's just regular season champ.
Well, no. I mean, like the Super League winner did not make Super League next season because Yepes didn't make it last season.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah. That's right. So we have a couple stats, right? Super League winner, and then the regulars. We'll have a new regular season champion because it was redacted and actually. Now I know a lot of people were comparing real quick. You know, who's better? That Ashley was better because. In the redacted era,
I mean, I don't even think we really need the redactor though, because it's not like it's not like he did something criminal. It's just like he did something that's like a big no-no in the league.
I'll say it. I don't care. We're good now. TJ, the era was different, right? TJ, ICG, you and me growing up in that first era of the league, we had 4 power plays. Okay, let's face it. That era was cracked. You could be down 5-0 and you're still in the game. 4 power plays. That era was silly. It played too much into the power plays. This era is harder. We've only had 1 or 2 power plays at most. There's only 3 once a season or twice that you get 3. That's in the best of 13. So realistically, yeah, this is a more harder era to get things done. The eras are different. It's hard to compare, but Ashley also has a clean record compared to TJ. But we wish her the best. We'll go to the next. Obviously, another asterisk coming up. And for Toasty, 6-3 from New Zealand, coming in at number 9. And then Gman, a lot of unfortunate things surrounding him with school. He will be back T5, but he won't be back T4. And Yepes 7-3, 2023 champ. I'll touch on all 3. For Toasty, we talk about Lane. We talk about Logan, Andy, and Toasty and Lane are inseparable. 6-3, 6-3. They're both 30-30. Very similar resume. The only difference is Toasty's losses are Nick, Myth, and Monkey. It's pretty damn special. For Gone, you almost wonder, G, with him, if he doesn't make that automotive April run, is he going to be really in the dumps? Because that's really what saved him. All his wins are top 25 right now, at least as of this reveal show. But he's going to have to drop, of course, not playing T4. Yepes is the last guy where you have to start feeling a little bit safe, but also just a slight bit concerned because of his strength of schedule. There's a small breakaway up top. Out of those three, well, really out of Yepes, Toasty, because Gon's not going to be your T4. Who do you think has the edge? Yepes, the defender, or the 2 years ago Super League champ, or Toasty, who made Super League the most recent time? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's Yepes because his only weakness is strength of schedule, and that's a weakness that you can get around with just getting wins. So I think Yepes is in a good spot. He's been on a tear for most of the season so far. Tournament 3 was a bit of a hiccup, but that does happen to some people sometimes, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. But yeah, I'm gonna probably say Yepes solely for the fact that he's been racking up the wins, and I don't think he's really caring about the strength of schedule too much at the moment. He's just trying to get those wins to make sure he's at least in the field. Because again, we mentioned it before with Lane. If you just get a bunch of wins, sure, maybe your seeding may not be as high, but you'll still be in the field. So I think that's going to be the important thing for a lot of these players.
Toasty
going forward,
win for sure.
Toasty's got to win, yeah.
Toasty Lane got to win. Yepes, he's got the third place in March, of course. For him, I think it's about picking up one or two. With the amount of parity, who knows? Where you might have a ridiculous strength of schedule and good quad resume. There's other ways to get in. We'll begin now. As if we start today, obviously Yepes would be the top of Group A. Gone, wish him the best. Won't be here T4. Trying to get back for T5, but we know he's going to be slipping down the order. So
I'll mention this.
Shakes out.
I'll mention this for Gon. I mean, I think the biggest thing for Gon is on average, like in terms of like taking the average of every win, he easily has the best consistent wins of everyone, and that mainly is in part of how many good people he was able to beat in that automotive April run. I think it would have been really big for him if he was able to win that tournament, because then he would have that security, and then this miss of tournament 3 and tournament 4 wouldn't be as concerning. But tournament 5, he's gonna have to go on another big run if he wants to make Super League, most likely. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for him staying afloat is those wins being really good, and if it can stay really good going into tournament 5, then he might actually be in a decent spot to possibly play his win in.
It'll be an interesting one for Gon. He probably has to go. I think if he's not going to be here again, and he missed T3, maybe potentially Elite 8 at minimum, if not Final 4, and get some good stuff, especially with the 2 tournaments missed. We'll see how it goes for him. Well, this would be the first single bye groups here. It'll be Myth and Mac. We'll start off these two. Myth coming in at 7-3. What a season for him. Top 25 wins galore. Great strength of schedule. But Mac with the tournament win and the head-to-head puts him ahead. What is there to say about either player? Never made Super League. They were bottom of the barrel. At one point, Myth was nowhere last year in 23. Mac has been nowhere his whole career. What can we say about Myth? Let's focus on Mac. And what a run. He beat some massive names. Obviously, Ashley Short, maybe not at 100%, still a big win. Background character. May have fallen out of top 25, but still a big win. Lane, huge win. Myth, we just talked about, good head-to-head win there. And then the 4-0 comeback on Albion and to take care of the master of T3, Brad. What can you say about Pat Johnson? We're going to have to find something new for that nickname. He's not packing anything other than packing his bags to Thailand 2025 come September. Thoughts on that, though?
I mean, to put it in perspective, for Mac with his career, he had that massive run in Movie May to win that tournament, and he still has a losing game record in his career. So I think that tells you a lot about him being in the dumps. I'm pretty sure he only had 2 game wins going into this tournament as well. So he was really in a bad spot, but somehow managed to find a way to get a big run going, got the tournament win to make himself secure into Super League for the first time in his career, so congratulations to him. And then for Myth, I think this really dates back to 2024 also. He just has found a style similar to Cap, where he's just been able to abuse it, and he's just been on a roll with it. So that's the biggest thing for Myth. He's just able to play that low tier really well, and he's been able to take full advantage of it, and that helped him get to the Final 4 in Automotive April, and has really just helped him throughout this season so far. So I think both these players are in a good spot. Mac, I'm not really sure where he'll find himself on the seeding line, but I think he's just happy to be in the field because he was very much in a position where he could have been in that relegation tournament. And then Myth is just trying to find himself and keep his run going because, again, he's another player who's in a really good spot. He could make a top 6 seed, but he's going to have to keep it up if he wants to hold on to that.
There's a little bit of a breakaway, I think, and if you're Myth right now, I think you're in that Yepes group, but you're a little bit ahead because of the SOS and top 25. Maybe just 1 or 2 more wins. That's it. We can start thinking about Myth, lock it in. And then these next 4, the top 4, we'll start with the next 2, and then we'll go to the top 2. You and me, G coming in at 4, me at 3. I'll talk about you. You talk about me. That's a fair deal. I think for you, G, it's pretty simple. You pretty much got your TW. I think you want this. I still think you're a guy to really shoot for those buys, right? Look for some good wins potentially down the road. But at 6-2, looking where you're at, I think you're content here. You weren't even close to nowhere last year. You're still on house money. That's my best assessment. Sure, you lost to Sanford. Now you can play a little bit of that back seat, pull up the lawn chair, and see who can help you on the resume a little bit because you have that TW. That's the advantage. A loss the next 2 tournaments isn't going to mean much. However, you still want to maintain at least a buy or a double buy to get yourself in good stead. Is that how you sum it up pretty much? I know you had the Spain stuff too. That's why you lost to Sam for a little bit, a little distracted.
That would be my mindset, but again, I mean, in terms of the lawn chair, I think that's more of just like the concern of making the fields, but obviously I'm the type of player who's never going to give any handouts for wins, so I'm not just going to step aside for anyone. I'm going to keep going because especially I do want that at least a top 6 seed, so that would be helpful to be able to have, so that's kind of the main goal. But as for you, I mean, I think this is a pretty good spot, all things considered. Do have some decent wins. You have a ridiculous strength of schedule, which I had to take a double check when I saw that you're 10th out of 10th out of 62, which is the second the 4th highest of the people in the top 16, which is kind of bizarre, especially since you started the season as a 1 seed. So
2 seed.
2 seed. Oh, 2 seed. My mistake.
Still ridiculous though.
Yeah, that's still insane that you have that high of a strength of schedule with a 2 seed. But I think a lot of the wins are just falling into your lap there. I mean, Mac Johnson, Acosta, I think. Yeah, I mean, you'd think those wouldn't end up being good wins, but look how the season's progressing, and right now they're turning out to be pretty solid wins. I mean, both of them are top 25. No one even thought they'd be in the top 25 at the end of the season, much less halfway. But that's the biggest thing going for you right now. I think just you're kind of in that boat where you just kind of maybe want to get a few more wins. Not even, doesn't have to be quality, it can just be like bottom feed around 64 wins. Just kind of give yourself an extra nudge to stay in that top 6 for the 2nd season in a row. So that's probably where you're sitting at right now. Again, good spot. You've kind of been here the past 2 seasons, and you're just kind of chilling right now.
That's what I usually do, G. It's been the KT motto. The KT motto, just get your wins in the beginning of the year and play where it lies. Of course, I won the tournament last year, but I think you said in this, I traded my tournament win for some ridiculous quality wins, which is no one expected. But let's get to the bigger story now. Coming in at number 2 is Nick, and the number 1 player, Monkey
as unbelievable
Boy,
as it is.
Can you believe there is a world, G, where Monkey Boy, I'm pretty sure he's in the top 12 in the strength. He's right up there.
Yeah, he's
the
up
only
there.
reason why he's ahead of Nick is the head-to-head, but Nick's had a great season. All due respect to Nick. The bigger story here is Monkey. Would you have imagined this 2 years ago? This guy, 2 years ago, after tearing up study guides and being not so much a bottom player, but maybe more the laughing stock as a meme, is the number one. Just your thoughts on that, because it's incredible, but at the same time, I don't know what to do with my hands because we've never seen him in this power position ever, to say the least.
I mean, Monkey still has his moments for sure, but I mean, he's definitely cooled off on that being reflected onto the table because he's had some good stuff this season. Made his first Final Four in Automotive April. Had a really good run there, all things considered. But he's just kind of been pretty consistent for most of the season. He's gotten the wins where he needs them. So I think that Nick win will go a long way, especially with him Nick having 8-2 wins, or 8 wins. He's 8-2 on his record, and I think just in general, Monkey's been making sure he's avoiding those slumps. But Tournament 4 was where he had a slump last tournament. last season, and that's really what made him fall out of the Super League conversation after that. So he's going to try to avoid that if he wants to at least stay above here. I don't think he's in concern for missing Super League right now unless something completely disastrous happens, but I don't think it's going to happen this season. I think he'll be in the field. It just depends on where he gets seated. So we'll see there. And then Nick with tournament win 8-2, really good season, much better than last season, and he's just looking to keep racking up the wins at this point and just keep the momentum flowing.
Out of these 4G, I think we exclude ourselves, and really it's just Nick and Monkey. Out of these two, this is going to sound crazy. I'd rather be in Monkey's spot. I know Nick's got a tournament win, but for Monkey, no one expects you to be up here. You're in a similar spot to maybe Mac or Myth. Okay, everyone expects KT or G, right, in a sense, because we've been here around the block. Monkey Boy's been here on the block, but it's a different type of been here around the block. He's been all over the board. He's been at the bottom. He's been at the middle. He's never been at the top, though. I'd rather be in his shoes because not many people are going to expect the unexpected. For Nick, it's just a bad placement at this point. I know it's kind of funny, G, because I remember when I won March at this same exact reveal show, I'm pretty sure I was 8-2. It's kind of funny. And I didn't win. I don't think I won a single game after that, other than DQ win on Pain. I don't think I won after that. So we'll see. Nick's he's more of in the same spot as I was last year. Not the same spot as Peter, though, because Peter, I'm pretty sure, only had 7-23. So the March winner, it seems to be a trend where you get your first 6 wins on the season, and then you kind of cool off, which is interesting. We'll see how that continues next year. But for now, that's where I see Nick. He's just got to see if he can maybe get a little bit of a small run. You don't have to go out there and win 20 games. 10 wins is enough just to get maybe 2 wins here or even 1 or 1, just to get a little momentum, a little spice. That's going to make things better when you get into Super League. You don't want to go in there cold and bank on a March win for sure, to say the least. All right, G, well, it's going to be a crazy, crazy Super League run. That's our top 25 with a little bit of extra stuff in the back end with the top 30. But let's get to it, G. How do you do the honors? You got to go always a good soundboard. What's our theme going to be? You got a good soundboard cooked up? What do we got? Anything good?
Okay, I'm going to have to find one. You're putting me on the spot here.
I mean, you always do that with the buzzer and with the bad games around. See if G's got something cooked up. But regardless, though, while G looks for a good soundboard, I want to thank Mac for this theme, as I'll try to see if he can do the soundboard for a hint, just for the fans. Still waiting for G here.
I don't know if there's one I could just do like as an obvious one, but I don't love it. But I'm trying to see if I can find something. Actually, wait. Okay, I got one.
Yeah, go for it.
Here we go.
I can't stop winning.
There you go.
That's the classic. Well, if that's what you want, that's what we get. We're going to do a little Jackpot June. And you know, it's only fitting that we have this tournament. I was actually talking to Pac. Of course, I'm the guy that reaches out to the players that win, gives them the template. And Pac, really, we talked about it. I think he even said it on his last stream. He's on Zillionaire. He's on house money. I agree. Pac has really hit the jackpot that last tournament in Movie May. He had the perfect film. He was the protagonist, the main character. This time, we get to enjoy a little bit of his fruits of his labors in Jackpot. Your thoughts? I know we've had some crazy things in the past about gambling, but I think this is great. It's a clean theme. There's nothing silly. The round names we'll talk about in a second, but your thoughts on Jackpot June before we get to the theme name, or the theme regions and all that fun stuff.
I thought we were going to lean more into the arcade aspect of it, but I guess not. But I mean, this is a good theme. It's more just trying to make sure we're not like confusing it. Obviously, we do not support people like gambling, like unhealthy gambling, at least. So I mean, I at least think that's a good thing to clarify first, especially since we have people who are not of the age to gamble at this moment. So that's the biggest thing I want to get out of the way. But I think with the themes kind of works, have the 4 suites of a card deck being the region theme, so or region names. So I think that worked out. I like some of the sheets I made for the sheets bracket.
Fantastic.
Spades took a while, but I got that one going. I just made a giant spade. So it was nice. I like clubs is probably my favorite one, and then diamonds. Had to throw a little Minecraft reference in there, but yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. But I think this first round is gonna be a bit bizarre because I think we're gonna start off with I think the biggest group of people we've had to discuss so far. But I mean, any last comments on the theme before we jump into that, KT?
Yeah, love the theme. The cards were great. Hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades is the theme. Split 64, tilt 32, little straight 16, established state, final four, and of course, the final table. That's great. I think all the theme names are great. The round names are fantastic. I have nothing to say but great things. And usually with these themes, the whole year, really since 2023, we stepped up the theming, and I want to thank every player that's won, and also everybody on the commission team, because of course we have to oversee all that stuff, and I think everyone did a good job. But as you said, G, a couple things here, looking at the entry list. I'm pretty sure last year had the same problem too in T4. Ironically, we only had 58 last year. This year we only got 57. Guess T4 is the tournament of buys. I don't know.
Well, let's rally through all these names at once here, shall we?
All right, go for it.
All right. Mac Johnson, Myth, Brad, Monkey, myself, KT, and Nick. That is your buy island. All 7 players. They're all gonna be chilling. That is the biggest buy island I've ever seen. But yeah.
And of course, a lot of the reasons why we've had this buy island were things you could not predict at the beginning of the season. The HCAB, okay, Knight dropping out. I don't know if we mentioned it. Knight's not going to be here rest of the. I don't know if we mentioned that. Knight's gone.
Ironically, because we had a bit of a switch with the relegation tournament format, because the bottom 4 now just get auto relegated or not in the tournament. Those 4 spots have already been filled, so the remaining players don't have to worry about not having a chance to be in that relegation tournament. Everyone that's still here will have that opportunity at least.
Yeah, that is true. And of course, we wish everybody better Grim. And who's the other people? Carson, Ashley, Gone, I think. Well, Gone's coming back though. That's the good news. He'll be back. So really, it's going to be 6 for T5. We'll be down. We'll have an extra game again, but we're only at 25 games, so this will be a quick recap round. But let's get to it, G. Mac Johnson will be the control of the Spades region. That is Region 1. Nothing really to say. He's on Buy Island. Normally we kind of joke around. Oh, my Mac might have trouble on. I'm just happy that he's even on a buy. Who would have Mac Johnson as the number 1 overall seed beat? No one would. So no jokes here. Congrats to Mac. He earns his flowers. We'll maybe save some of the jokes for the guys that have been on these Buy Islands multiple times, or me or Brad, who've been on here 5 or 6 times anyway. But next game, the first game, G, it actually starts off a little kickoff game. We talk about playoff games all the time. This is it. Hockey Seth. For Hockey, obviously, he's got his rookie stripes still, but he's starting to ditch him. Had that tough loss to land, the reset. Seth Cole, good season so far in terms of maybe just building a little bit with the Ashley win, but other than that, nothing to write home about. Does commentary. I'm going to say this game is going to come down to efficiency, not so much on numbers, but control of just emotion efficiency. I think Hockey is more of one of those uncomposed players at times. Seth is one of those more composed players. I'll go Seth 4-3. This one's going to be close. I think both these players are in a playoff situation. Very possible. There's no relegation talks because they both have 2 wins, so they'll run it back next year.
At the moment, at least.
Yeah, barring something silly. I think this is going to be more of just a no man's land game. It is a little bit of a playoff game. I'm going Seth 4-3. What do you got?
I'm gonna go 1 down here, Seth 4-2. I think Hockey's had some flashes so far this season, but I think there's still some issues on the table for him that's kind of been costing him. For Seth Cole, he's been a bit more consistent. I think he'll be able to get the job done and be able to filter out some of the noise here and just be cruising on to the next round here.
All right, we're gonna go with double Seth here, keeping it clean. G, this is your favorite player in the league. We got ALP in the bottom half. Mr. Sharpie versus Varigold. ALP is one of those guys that has 0 wins. We know how this season has gone. It's been a weird script. The 0 and 1 win players make a run. Do we see making ALP make a run here? Absolutely not. I can't see it. I think Varigold 4-2. I think the thing with ALP, while he might have some momentum, maybe forget the Sharpies just because Gold does play a little bit lower card starts. Varigold's been a master. And if you're Varigold, you lose here, then we're gonna have serious questions on that resume. It's a must-win for Varigold and ALP, but I think Varigold's got a little more motive. ALP even talked about being a little checked out last tournament. So, what do you got here, G?
I mean, again, I've talked about it consistently. I am not picking ALP until the Sharpies go right here. Oh wait, no, that was not that is not the correct soundboard.
That's not it.
Never mind. That is not it. The name lied to me. But I can't find it.
That's okay. Bro.
Unfortunate. Yeah, no, we're fine. Okay, whatever. I have gold winning 4-1. Again, ALP is just like it's Sharpie this, Sharpie that. The Sharpie needs to go in the trash can at this point. That's the only way he's really gonna find himself getting a win this season. So, needs to find something different because I mean he keeps doing the same thing over and over and gets no success with it. So. That's all I gotta say. I cannot pick ALP until the Sharpies go away.
All right, we'll tell ALP to put all his Sharpies in the trash can, and we'll start picking them. That's it. But we'll see. Gold definitely top 25 player, and then we will see what he can do as he tries to make some rebound. Well, we talk about the ironic seasons of Logan and Andy. How ironic is this? Andy just lost to Ellison. Now Logan gets Ellison. That's really funny. It really is. It's crazy.
That would give Logan a definitive head-to-head though. So
yeah, common opponent. That's another thing too. So this is a big game for Logan. He would definitely clear if he can get Ellison. I'm gonna be honest with you, G. Ellison's got something to prove here. The way he beat Andy, the fact that he actually had ammo control and he actually started to find something instead of just a pump and dump. I was impressed. I still think Logan wins, but this is going 7. Give me Logan in 7, closer than people think. What do you got here?
I kind of like lining up my predictions with Logan and Andy, so this might be a spoiler for later on, but I'm going Logan 4-3 on this one. I think Logan will get a bit of a redemption tournament going here because I think he knows he's in that bubble conversation and wants to not be stuck in first gear once again. So I think it's gonna be a close game. Ellison's definitely gonna give more of a fight, but I have Logan winning this one in a very close game that goes the full distance of 7.
It could be a good one. Logan 7 from both me and G. A lot of similar predictions, but this next game, G, Sanford Rogers. You notice how I didn't even mention Charles Sanford in the top 30. He's been just not having a good year in terms of getting the right times. I mean, he had the unfortunate win against Camaro and then some more shenanigans against Tapir. And last tournament beat you, which is probably the biggest thing he's got going for him right now, but then lost it to Art, ironically, in the rematch of the power play. Rogers had that big win over Chomik. Barely lost to Clay. I think Rogers actually is going to pull something here. He's not going to win. I think this actually goes 7, which would put him into his 100th game. But I think Sanford gets it done 7. Just the veteran experience. And I think the power play now, it's tough to play a guy like Sanford who has great power play knowledge versus Rogers who's trying to still learn that element of the game. What do you think here?
Yeah, I don't know. Sanford, I mean, we're talking about Sanford. He wasn't even in the top 30 for Super League reveals, so he knows he needs to pick up the pace here. So I think Sanford knows that Rogers has kind of been someone who's like been a Tournament 2 merchant, and we are well past Tournament 2s here. So until proven otherwise, I think Sanford has this one in the bag. Give me Sanford 4-1 in this one.
Sanford 4-1 goes for G. It will put him the win for the year. Next game, one of our top 15 boys in the Super League field, Ed Ziemba. And then, of course, Brian. Gee, every time we pick Brian or every time we even mention Brian, what Brian going to show up? Is it T1 Brian that played Yepes? Is it last year's Brian that should have beaten Nam? Or is it the Brian that played Carson that in-state battle? Or just Brian out I don't know what Brian's showing up. Give me Ed 4-1. I can't pick Brian until we know what consistency he's going to offer. Ed needs this game more. I know Brian's on the 0-win path. I don't think it's going to be from him. I'm going to have to go Ed here 4-1. What do you got?
I guess you mentioned 0-win. I think it's a good time to bring this up here because right now we are in a similar spot where we were last season, where right now the cut line can burst with a single 0-win player getting a win here. So at this point we have 8 people fighting to do that. So Brian, of course, is one of them. ALP was aforementioned another. I did not pick ALP to win this one. With this season, it's always been the people we least expect at some of the weirdest points. And I guess that could be ALP, but I feel a little bit more firmly confident on the ALP one. Brian, it's a little bit murky. I don't know which one's going to show up. Ziemba's been having a good run, but how long can this be consistent for? I'm going to go for a bit of a shocker here. I think Brian's going to be the one who breaks that cut line, opens up to the 1 wins being in danger, and wins it in 7.
Brian in 7, that would not only shake up the Super League picture, shake up the relegation picture, and Boy, oh boy, that'd be something that Brian can do it. And then who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe he can make a run.
because again, if one of these 0-win players wins, we already know who's going to drop down unless they get a win. That's going to be Zach because he missed the tournament, so he's automatically on the bottom of the 1-win people. So Zach's going to want to get a win here at some point, also including maybe this tournament.
Unless it's Dark though, right? Because Dark needs two. Right?
Unless it's Dark. If it's Dark, then well, actually no. If Dark wins, because he's going to then get the 9 wins, which would put him ahead of Zach right now. So, although Zach would still have to play his match, so I don't know. It would depend. Dark, it would depend. Everyone else, they would go ahead.
Dark is because he missed, of course, last tournament. He's coming back. We'll talk about him a little later. All right, so G got the upset there. G, this is probably one of the games that are around. Now I'm captain. These were two super. This should have, to many people, this should have been the match for the quarterfinals of last year's Super League, but some circumstances worked out where Nam tried some things against JT, and that Super League game didn't work out, but he did have a lot of experience. This is a crazy game because Nam's the better seed. Captain is the better ranked player. I'm going to go with Nam 4-3. I think Cap, I know he's been on a losing streak, but he tried that crazy, weird 15-14. It's not his game against hockey. I don't know what Cap's going to show. I think he goes back to low tide, but it's not a guarantee. Nam's the home team. And if you're the home team, if he goes back to low tide, you better win those games. I think Nam will win this game. It's going to be a home type game series. Give me the better team in 7. I'll go with Nam. 7 seed. What do you got?
I'm going to be honest. When I look at this game, I feel like whoever loses this one, their season might as well be over. So
sure.
This is going to be crucial for both players. I think the biggest thing though is Captain has really been down in the dumps with how he's feeling, but Nam has also been down in the dumps with how he's feeling. He's been saying he's going to get relegated, which is like not going to happen, but he keeps saying that. So yeah, I don't know. I think the season's over for whoever loses this. For this one, I just think in these kind of situations, and especially with how things have been going right now, I think Nam's going to find a way to get through. Captain, it just seems like the low tier is kind of biting him, and he just does not really know what he wants to do at this point. So I think it's going to be that uncertainty for him that's going to cost him. I think Nam will move on in a decent 4-2 win. But yeah, both these players need this win. Otherwise, I think their Super League hopes are done.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow, Jill. Spoiler alert, that's going to be the opening stream of the round. That's going to be crazy. 1 o'clock. Nam captain. Of course, we'll talk about the opening game of the round a little later. But I'll be on the schedule, opening stream of the round with Seth and me. Yepes Monaco, I'm going to be brief. I wish Eric the best. He had some off-the-table news. I'm not going to discuss that, but I wish him the best. He still is going to play his tournament. You know, I would have actually said Eric could go 7 here because he usually knows how to find ways to get wins, and Yepes doesn't sweep people. But with the recent news, I just don't know how locked in he's going to be. For that reason, Yepes in 6. I still think it goes far, but it won't be a 7th game. I think Yepes will. He needs it more. If he gets this win, considering he's the only guy on the 2 line that's playing, he needs this game more than Eric. Despite Eric having 0 wins, I just don't know how focused he is right now. What do you think here?
I honestly think Yepes wins the sweep. I think there's way too many things going on for Monaco right now to have this be the prime focus. So I think it's going to be a quick one. Yepes gets through, but best wishes to Monaco. But obviously a lot of stuff going on right now that's kind of out of his control. So I don't know if he's really going to be able to be fully locked in for this one. But it'd be what a story if he could get his first career win though in this game though. But I just don't see it happening.
It would be a great story. It would be a feel-good story, but as you said, it's going to be a uphill battle. Now we'll go to that clubs region aforementioned. We'll start it off with the 2 people on bye. So now we get to the 2 people. We'll go Myth and Brad. For Myth, this isn't the worst bye position to be in. He's never really been in. I don't even think he's ever been on a bye. So because of that, he's not in a bad spot. So for that reason, I actually think it's not the worst spot. Kind of do a little scoreboard watching, see what you can do. Maybe get one of your resume wins or losses that are playing this first round to help bolster. That's what you really do in this spot, especially this time of year. If you get that luxury bye, enjoy it. Sip a pina colada and have fun. For Brad, I know a lot of people are saying, well, Brad doesn't need this K because he doesn't have the proper amount of wins. I get where Brad's coming though from. If he is going to be in this spot, you have to do the same thing. Hope somebody from your resume. Maybe it's a Varigal. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's Zach, right? So you had that bad loss of Zach or background. One of them makes a small little win. Good run there. And you can start building them. That's all you can really do on Bye Island. You really, especially if you have enough wins, you got to hope someone on your resume or somebody you won or lost to makes a little bit of a round 1 win and gets a steal win. And then you can start talking about how to play it when you get to round 2 onwards when you're back on the table. But that's all I can really say for the Bye Island players, G. Not much to say. Brad, I think Brad's been on here 5 times, so we'll do a little bit of a joke. I don't know, G. What do you think, Brad? I'm buying. You think the buy's got a shot against Brad? What do you think?
Bar Island is a strong champion, but I don't know. It's Brad's got some momentum here, so I think that one goes in. I think that one goes in 12. Give me a 6-6 draw on that one.
6-6 draw, but Brad is the number 6. There you go. But let's move forward. Let's go to the 8-9 and G1 8-9. This is going to be because I think both players are in a similar spot to Nami Captain. Playoff energy, 2-3 Yoshi, 2-3 Bo. Bow Tie loves T4 and 5. Yoshi had that, I don't even know what to describe, loss against Acosta. That was a ridiculous game. You know, part of me wants to say Bow Tie is going to make this run and really put the nail in the coffin like he always does in T4. But it's been a different Bo this year. I'm going to go Yoshi in 7. I just don't think Yoshi is going to play a closeout game. That's not what he wants. There's an opportunity with a 1 seed and a quad 1 player coming up. He'll win this in 7, but that's all Yoshi's known this year. Long endurance game. So it's going to be a battle, though. What do you got here? Yoshi in 7.
I have Bo in 6. Yoshi just does not have any momentum right now. He's still not really sure what he needs to do in terms of the gameplay. He's talked to me about that before, and it's been a bit of a concern for him. So I feel like that might still continue to be a concern, and he'll just feel a bit lost at some point. So I think Bo's just kind of more locked in, focused, knows what he knows what he needs to do, and just takes advantage and gets the win there. But yeah, I think Yoshi just needs to be able to take a second, try to figure out what kind of style he wants to go with, what he needs to do in these game situations to get the win. Because there's definitely someone who overthinks a lot of game situations, so he's gonna have to figure out a way to get around that.
Interesting little split there from me and G, but we go to the next game, the Ultimate Pro Player match. Peter Anjay, Drip, 2 guys that have been here around the block. Drip from last year, Peter since the start, the OG. One of, I think, only 5 or 6 players left that started every tournament. Not many left of us. But
I think it's 7.
7, yeah, 7, you're right, 7. Only 7, so it's winding down. But regardless, I think Peter's going to get this 1-7. I think Drip, not the best on locked in right now. However, this is a good style. Drip is a guy that likes to play number efficiency. He waited for somebody like this all season, and he's got it. That's the only thing Peter's got to be weird. Drip is a guy that can combat that number of fish compared to, let's say, controlled ammo. I think Peter's going to have to be careful. It's a close one, Peter in 7, but closer than people think. What do you think, G?
I don't know. I just say, again, I've said this on the podcast multiple times, I just think it's been a noticeable step down season for Drip, all things considered. Onjack and a bit of a revival season. I think Onjack's going to be able to get the win here in a 4-1. Again, Drip has a lot of distractions outside of this, so it's kind of tough for him to be able to sit down and know what he's doing specifically in terms of the table, because there's a lot of stuff going on. But I think Onjack is in a spot where he wants this win a lot. Drip's kind of just here for the vibes, so which is not a bad thing, but I just think Onjack's going to be more locked in to get the win here, so I have Onjack in 5.
Could be an interesting one with Peter Drip. This one's another weird game. Obviously, we've been a little bit documented. Caesar still playing, taking a little bit of time off with some commission duty. Got some personal. Obviously, there is that looming thing with Discord in Brazil. We wish him the best there. That's another thing he's got to tackle. Steven's kind of the same way though. He's really all over the place, even scheduling the game. It's kind of a who's going to show up type game now, more than people think. I'll go with the veteran Caesar 4-2, but man, who's going to be more locked in? I think Caesar needs this more. I know Steven's at 0 wins, but just the composure. The problem is if you're going to play those composure games against Jay Caesar locked in on the table, Jay Caesar, that doesn't usually end well for you. So I'm going Caesar in 6. What do you got here?
If there was not the ongoing situation with Caesar, I'd more comfortably pick Caesar here, but I mean, I really don't know at this point, because I think you talk about the composure issues, but I don't know how much Caesar's going to be as locked into this one, because there's a lot of stuff going on with him, so I'm not sure. Steven needs to find a win here at some point, because it's not looking great for him right now. It's wild how he's the D2 champion last season, and now he's been looking the worst out of the D2 players so far. Even Knight, but Knight's kind of gone now, so that's a little bit of a caveat. But oh man, I really don't know. I'm gonna go with Steven. I could regret this choice later. But I think there's a lot too much going on with Caesar right now. I think this goes 7. I think this kind of goes chaotic all over the place, but I just think with the way Caesar's whole situation is, it's just not the same scenario that he'd usually be in. And again, he's expressed his disappointment with I guess his season so far in the past, and just not feeling a ton of confidence at the moment. So I don't know. This could very much be a game where all composure gets thrown out the window. So I'm not really sure where it goes there. I'm gonna go with the 4-3 for Steven here, but again, I could very much regret this choice later.
It's too wild. It's too wild of a game. It's hard, and then we're gonna have another game like that where we don't know what the off the table things could occur, and wish both obviously the best because we know Steven's not even, who knows, he might be on vacation as well, a little bit all over the place. So we'll see who gets locked in as well on that one. Well, we always talk about a chance. Well, this is a chance for Arya. Ghost and Arya. When I think about Arya, it's about that long, drawn-out, quick style. Ghost is the exact same, but this is a mirror image game. This is going to be a sneaky good game. You know, Ghost needs this more. He really does. He's in the top 25. However, I think I said this on the reveal show, and I'll say it again. If Arya can't win against a similar player, then when's the time? This has got to be Arya in 7, and it's a must get the job done because if you can't get it done now against someone who's been playing very similar, you've played every style this year, when's it going to be? Give me Arya in 7 despite maybe having no momentum and Ghost having a little bit more. What do you got here?
Oh man, this is another tough one for me. Yeah, again, the biggest problem is Arya doesn't really have momentum. Ghost is kind of in the middle here. This has been a very bizarre season for Arya, all things considered. Got a good win to start off in March, but then has been nowhere since. Ghost has kind of been in the middle. He's kind of in that Super League hunt. I'm going with Ghost here. I just think Ghost has kind of that ride to the top right now where he knows he needs these wins. I'm going to say Ghost a full distance 7, but I think Ghost definitely needs this win in the terms of just where he's at in the season, and then Arya. Again, it's kind of bizarre also because Arya is technically in this relegation conversation, although she is one of the higher 1-3 winners. So she could just get enough game wins and be okay. But this has been definitely a very disappointing season for Arya, all things considered, especially with it being a comeback after having to miss last season due to circumstances out of her control.
We'll see what will happen for Arya. You're going to have to find some Ghost, like I said, trying to get that top 25 mix. We'll see if he can make a run. Should be a good one, the old 6-11 line. Winner will get either Abian or M. I'm going to cut to the chase here, G. I know we talk about the 0 win. I don't know. Problem with M is it's too inconsistent. Plays some good players. Vapor, of course, Caesar, Lane. But despite all that track record, M's got to find something more, and that's going to come down to composure. Not against Abian, who's coming off the 4-0, whatever that was. I know there could be a hangover, but he's going to brush that to the side. I got Abian in 5. I think he gets this one done easily. What do you got here?
I have another sweep here. I think Abian wins 4-0. I think for M, the biggest thing for her is she was able to avoid relegation with 2 really bizarre wins last season. But this is kind of been the same here, except she has no wins at this point. So I don't really know what she's going to be doing at this point. She's definitely one of the players who's getting penciled in for being in the remaining and the 4 other relegated people at the end of the season. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen there, but I have Abian in a sweep. I just don't see what M does in this game to be able to get herself out of a hole and get the job done.
All right, we'll go to the next game. G, this is a risky game. Sting Ram. This is the last game of the round. Sting's the only player in the league that will potentially get or will get 100 games. He'll be on game 2. The problem here, G, is this game's going to happen at 4 in the morning, Radden's time. I don't even know what to say about that because he's already on 2 strikes. This is too risky for Radden. If this game gets played, Sting wins in 6. If it doesn't, then, that's Radden's 3rd strike, and there's going to be other questions off the table. So what do you got here, G?
I think with bizarre games, that's kind of Radden's bread and butter. So this is a very weird time to pick, all things considered. But I think with normal times, Radden's kind of been MIA, but I think with weird times, I think that just kind of plays into his wheelhouse. So ironically, that might be a benefit for him. So I'm going to go with a pick probably no one has and say Radden wins 4-3. Because I don't know, Stingray has just really not been looking strong, especially after his good run in the first tournament. Yeah, where he made the round of 16. Just has not really been looking the same since. So I think Radin takes advantage of the weird timing on his end and then just makes the game a complete chaotic mess and gets the win.
Could be a sloppy one, to say the least. Both guys are going to be fired up for different reasons, let's say the least. Well, we'll go to Region 3. It's going to be Monkey G on the buys. Obviously, this was the Final Four. You guys played in the Final Four back in Otto-April. G, you've been here so many times. We'll wait for your matchup. For Monkey, once again, he's already in a solid spot. It's the same thing with this. Just relax, chill out, see if one of your resume wins can get you the work for you. I don't have much to say. But since G's been on the buy island more, I'm going to go G easily. 4-1. Repeated Clyde's on top. That sound fair, G?
4-1. Yeah, I mean, on the byline, 4-1. Yeah, you know, I think it's fine. I think it'll go 6 though. If it goes 7, I think I'm cooked, but we'll see.
Okay. G 4-2 over to buy. All right, let's have a fun. Anyway, let's get to it. The old 2023 10th place. Who deserved 10th place game? We're gonna settle that now. Clay and Lamas. Both guys are going in interesting directions. Clay, of course, hangs on to just a solid resume, I guess. Cody had that big win over Lara and then lost to Toasty in 7. I don't know, man. Lamas is hot off the table with his Panthers. Clay has been just all over. This is tough because CPU says Lamas in 7. I'll go Lamas in 7. You know, normally it's not a game I hate to pick because both these guys I know very well, but I'll go Cody in 7. I think Clay he's gonna have to find something here, and it's been weird because he either gets swept in the case of Gold or Larahuo, he got swept, and then he reverse swept ALP, and then he lost to No Plus 4 lane. Bizarre season for Clay. I'm going Cody. I think he knows this is a good match for Cody because he knows this guy from the past. What do you got here?
I mean, like, Lamas is another one of these people who you have to look at potentially on the relegation discussion. He's only at 1 win. He is technically the highest currently of the 1 win people, excluding Camaro, who has that DQ win, which bizarrely might actually be a big help for him. But yeah, I don't know. I think he knows where he's at. Clay's like in no man's land right now. He wants to get out of that. Lamas is just kind of in all over the place. I think he's more focused on the Panthers right now, and I think for Lamas, if he could just get the game wins, I think he might be okay in terms of the top 52, but I have Clay 4-2. I think Clay is going to be knowing he needs to get the win here. It's going to be pretty desperate to do everything he can to get the win, and I think he'll find a way to get on top, so that's what I have. Clay needs this win to get out of no man's land, and that's that.
Opportunity for both two. Monkey lurking. Of course, that's what the beautiful thing about the 8-9 or 2-7 lines to 2-7-10 lines. Vapor Jenna. You know, a lot of people are saying when Jenna going to make a run. I haven't seen much. I think this is Vapor all day. Give me Vapor in 5. I think the thing with Vapor, man, it's his last season, and now he's starting to get to the point where I'm actually in the hunt. Technically, if we take Ashley out, we started to he'd be in the field, and I think he's starting to smell it. This is his chance. He knows this is nothing to lose. I haven't seen much for Jen. Jen even said after the last tour and is not just kind of checked out. Give me Vapor. He's locked in. Vapor in 5. What do you got here?
I'm just not really sure what's going on with Jenna because it's just nothing's really gone right for her. She's had a decent start to the season, but since then it's just really has not been able to figure it out. I think she'll have a bit of a resurgence here, but not enough for a win. Vapor's just been too good in the consistency department, so I think Vapor gets the win here at 7, but for Jenna, I'm not really sure. Jenna is another person who is on that cut line. She is 50th on the grid right now, so she needs game win. She especially needs a series win to make sure she'll be in D1 for next season. But yeah, I've just been a little disappointed from Jenna. She's kind of lost in a sea of novices right now in terms of the standings, which I'm looking at right now. So that's a bit ironic, but yeah, I don't know. I've just been disappointed with Jenna. I was hoping she'd be able to do a little more this season, but just something's not been clicking.
This is an interesting game. There's 2 of these games, in my opinion. We've never seen I don't think Acosta's ever had a home game. If he did, it might have been against Yepes the first.
It was against Yepes, yeah, because Yepes was the lower seed. But that was the best of 5 also.
Yeah, what an era. He gets his first home game against Allen. The problem is, Allen is very distracted. Acosta doesn't know what to do with his hands. This can go either way. I'm going to go Acosta in 7 because I just don't think Acosta finds ways to win games at close anymore. I think he's on a four-game streak of has to go the max distance. Let's make it a 5-for-5. But Clutch Gene goes in the way of Acosta. He wins this one 7. Allen's he's too all over the board. What do you got here, G?
I have Allen in 7 with this one. I think the Acosta run kind of reminds me of Ziemba last season, where he went on that big run in Tournament 3, but then wasn't able to repeat in Tournament 4. I think the same could happen here, even though Allen's a bit distracted. He's kind of just like, I wouldn't say locked in, but like weirdly like hyper locked in. I don't even know the terminology, but I don't know, something with this league. He's just kind of it clicks for him when he gets into the game. So I think he'll find something, win it 4-3. This could be a bit of a bizarre match, though. I'm not really sure if I'm looking forward to this or if this is one you want to steer clear of. But
which one?
We'll have to
Next
see.
one or this one?
This one, Acosta Allen.
The next one's going to be another one to steer clear. But this is a steer clear region. A lot of these games, Acosta Allen could be wild. This one's going to be wild too. Andy Camaro. I mean, this is an in-state battle. The last time Camaro had this, he won against Sanford, but controversial city. There was a ridiculous amount of late hours. It's a Camaro's too all over the board, man. I don't know. Andy needs this one. Camaro, I know he's got 2 wins technically. I think one of them was against Gama, which would never happen. But I think Andy's going to have enough. He's going to have enough in the tank. Give me Andy in 6. What do you got here?
I kind of spoiled this earlier, but I've kind of been lining up with the Logan Andy prediction, so I have Andy 4-2. I think he moves on. Camaro's had a bizarre season. Had some really good flashes, but also some not great moments. But ironically enough, I actually think he'll be in D1 next season because of the DQ win. So that's really going to come and help him out a bit, unless something crazy happens. But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. So I have Andy winning and Camaro kind of all over the place, but in terms of top 52, it actually is in an okay spot at the moment.
In the last game, Lane, Zach, we talked about Lane just got to keep winning. Zach making his return. Of course, no one's fault that last game against Carson. That was nobody's fault. That was Spartos. We moved over to the new client, which is working well, by the way. That was a great change for the Spartos team. Shout out to them. But because of this, I think Zach coming in a little bit hot in the sense that no one knows what he's going to do after that last tournament where he was ready to go. Gives Lane a challenge. I'm going Lane 7. It's closer than people think. Lane's got to just keep winning. And for Lane, you got to think here, he cannot afford a Camaro win because that's just going to be another terrible resume win. He's got to keep winning. So he's desperately hoping Andy gets through. I'm going to have to go Lane, though, taking care of business in 7 in a close fight. What do you got?
I have Lane winning. Zach needs this win desperately because he's 52nd on the grid right now, so he needs this. But I don't know. Lane's just been looking better. Zach's kind of been all over the place in his career. So for me, Lane 4-1. Zach, I'm not really sure where he goes from here, but Zach's got to be really worried this tournament because if one of these 0-win people wins, he is going to be in that bottom 12. So he's going to need to find a series win at some point because otherwise he might be in trouble.
Now we'll do it for the old Diamond region. We go into the Hearts region.
Well, wait. We still have one more.
Which one?
Goldie Leah.
Oh, shoot. My fault. What the hell am I doing? Goldie Leah. My fault. My bad, that G. My fault. Got a text her. Goldie Leah is an interesting one. Leah has played the all-female matchup with Arya and won that one. Goldie is a top-tier rookie. I don't think has had this highest of a seed in her career. You know what? I normally don't go with these D2. You can look at I don't usually do it. I'm going to go with Goldie here. I think Goldie's going to find a way. It's a playoff game. There's so many 2-3s versus 3-3s, 2-3s versus 2-3s. This is another one. I think Goldie's going to find something here, G. I know I've been probably one of the few guys on here that usually don't go with these D. I'm going to change my bet here. I'm going Goldie. I'm locking it in. Staying with the CPU. It goes 7, though. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Goldie too. I've kind of liked what Goldie's been able to do, in these past few tournaments. Got a good win in Movie May against Strip 4-0 sweep, but wasn't able to get the win over Myth. I think another opportunity here to possibly get that big win in the second round. And I think She's been doing some good stuff here, so I'm gonna have Goldie 4 too. Leah has had a good start to the season, but I mean the last tournament wasn't that great for her, and just kind of losing some momentum.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes for these two. It could be a playoff game. There's so many playoff games, man. A lot of games that are going to be interesting. Like obviously, Andy Camaro, Costa Allen. But we go to the last region. Nick and myself on buys. I've been here 7 damn times or some crazy number. Nick, I think, has been here twice now. So we've both been here on the block. You can throw some punching shots at this G. But I think we're both in a good spot to take this buy. I think. What do you think here? What do you think? Nick in 4 and KT squeaks by in 7.
I'm gonna say Nick wins in a singular game. And then KT's gonna beat the timeshare in a close 4-3.
Just barely, just beating it. Just beat the old timeshare out there in Bayonne. All right. Well, Nick is gonna be. Who's he gonna be playing? This is a tough game. This is a barn burner game, a playoff game. Background character versus Tago. Tago was the regular season leader. Tyler Ashley had 13 wins last year. And now he's at 2 wins and just barely hanging on to any type of hope. Background's been hot, in terms of these round 1 games. I'll go with what the CPU says. Tago wins this one in 7, but I don't think I'd be surprised if Background wins this one because this is a back and forth type series. Tago's been on this 8. He just got done with Brad. I'll go Tago in 7. This is his last chance to prove it because if he doesn't win here, maybe he's the one guy because we're entering T5 where he won last year, has a little bit of spark, but not much spark left. That's all I got to say with that. What do you got here?
I think the biggest problem for Tago is he lost his consistency in the last tournament. Background has maintained it throughout the season. Background's looking to break through and get past this round of 3-2, and I think he'll still be motivated with that. I think Background continues the streak of getting out of this first round here, wins it 4-2. Gets another opportunity to try to get out of the round 32 against Nick. Background's just been showing great consistency in this first round. It's just really that second round that's been abysmal for him. And I mean, for Tago, this second round is even worse for him. I don't think he has a single game win in the out of the round of 64 so far this season. So, or outside the round of 64. So, it's not looking great for Tago.
Well, JT and Tapir, if you would have told me this would be a matchup in round 1 in T4, I'm thinking, oh man, Tapir's at 7 wins, JT at 6. What a game, No, it's none of that. It's a 5-win Tapir and a 0-win JT. It's the biggest storyline at the bottom. When will JT get a win? This has got to be I know Tapir's the defending winner, but this is JT. I'm going with the upset.
Tournament 4 is usually the tournament where a lot of the people who you'd be surprised are at the bottom win, because, I mean, you saw that with me and Gold last season. Right. I guess you saw that with, I mean, I don't know if Pac would count, but Pac did in Tournament 4 last season.
He won too. Yep. So I'm going to go JT here in 7. I think JT did beat Tapir the first time in the Super League game, Final 4. So I think that momentum carries just slightly in the sense that he knows the style. I think if it was anybody else, maybe a little bit different. I got JT in 7. He's got to try something. This is his last chance. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. This is basically this is for me based off the trends. I would say that JT is in this good spot to finally get that first win of the season. I would say he wins it 4-3 as well. And I'm trying to look back from the past also for people who broke through for their first win in this tournament 4. I don't know if there's anyone specifically in 2023. I'm trying to look, but I don't see anyone specific. I know Ard had a win. Vitzi broke a long winless streak, I think. Yeah. In tournament 4, because he had a win tournament 1 and then just dipped after that. So yeah, I'm not really finding that. I mean, Tago won in tournament 4, but I think that was also one of his early tournaments as well, so I don't know if that really counts. But yeah, tournament 4 has been, we've seen in the past, it's been, especially last season, where it's been a place where people break out with that first win, especially where they're at the bottom. So I think JT will find a way to get the win here and put himself in a better spot with this relegation conversation right now, because he does not want to be in this bottom 12 at the moment.
No, JT's probably the shocker of the year, the biggest storyline, not there.
He's actually, I'm looking at this right now. He's actually, in terms of the people who are still playing this season, he actually has the least amount of game wins so far. With only 4. The only reason he's above Dark Rain is because Dark missed last tournament, but Dark has 5 wins compared to his 4, so it's been an abysmal season for JT so far.
He's got to find something, and for JT, if he can get to the win, there's a real good opportunity either way with Art and Curtis. I think Art is in the same spot as Acosta, G. He's never been this. He's been a home team, but he hasn't been a home team in a long time in a round one. DJ has been, I don't know. Ever since we put him in Super League, it's been a train wreck. I think round one, Art's back. I think he gets this done in 6. I think Art's a guy that doesn't play close games either, though. Similar to Acosta. I'll go Art in 6. And I think he finally knows how to make a run now compared to the past. What do you think here?
I feel like Curtis has not really shown many signs of life, especially after the ending of that Super League, which is kind of unfortunate. So I think Ard has been showing more momentum here. I think he wins it in 5, and Curtis is in real danger of being in that relegation tournament at the end of the season. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for that for both Tournament 4 and then Tournament 5.
This is a who's who on this game. Let's face it here, G. Brock and Retro. Brock has these silly fades that just seem to work at the end of the season. Retro didn't even know how to call Uno against Sanford. Give me Brock in 6. This is, I don't know. Brock, I think, was one of your surprise favorites to make a run last year at the end of the season. He did.
He was.
When he heats up in the summer. He's like T. Stew in the summer. It's starting to heat up for Brock. Brock's heating up right here. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock wins. I'm predicting a sweep in this one. This will be my last sweep I predict. 4-0. Retro's in that relegation conversation. He does have a win, so he's above the cut line right now, but only 10-13 on the game record, so we'll have to see where that develops. But I think Brock is just in a more locked in place, especially after rebounding last tournament after he started the season 0-2.
Well, gee, this is a big one right here. Massive game, Toasty, Dark, and here's why it's a massive game, because Dark needs to get the 2 wins, but at the same time, this is the one game that Dark maybe wants, because Toasty does not play 2, 3, 4 command. He plays one at a time on the command chain. Dark is a guy to do the same thing. This is a guy that actually plays similar pace. It's going to be a slow, drawn-out game, and that's what Dark wants. Toasty wins in 7, but Dark's going to throw something here. I really think because he didn't play, no one knows his package. I'll go Toasty in 7 with the CPU, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dark wins. He's getting a favorable matchup. What says you?
I don't know. Toasty has kind of been decent most of the season. Dark's kind of been all over the place, and his title's never really changed. I think Toasty just gets the win 4-2 and just leaves it at that. Dark's going to be in a weird spot in these next 2 tournaments because he has to get those 2 wins, so we'll see how that all plays out.
And lastly, G, the ultimate playoff game. 4-win Chame, 3-win Larahuo. This is it. A winner, I think, makes a massive step, especially if it's Chame. If Lara gets the win, then Chame is going to have to be sweating bullets and really have to get down to business in T5. I'm going to have to say I'll go with the EXP split. We talked about the split ammo. Chame, Allen, is it dead? Is just everyone caught up on it? Well, this is the tournament. If Allen and Chame can't get the wins here, that means everyone's picked up on split ammo. I know Allen's a little bit distracted, but Chame needs to make a statement. Chame here in 6. He's got to do it now or never. Larahu has had a good run to start the year, but has faded off a little bit since. What do you think?
I'm going to go here with Lara. I don't know. Chomix has kind of been up and down all over the place. Lara's had that good run in Tournament 2, but it's kind of been quiet since. I think Lara maybe hasn't had a run in them. They've shown some good stuff, just haven't really been able to execute, but I think it'll be really close. I think Lara finds a good hand in Game 7 to get the win there, so I think Lara wins it in 7, and I think from that point, Chomek's season is going to have a lot of question marks going into Tournament 5.
He'll be in T5. We'll go, John. We'll see how that one goes. Well, that's it for the Split 64. We'll talk a little bit about the last conversation with D1 regarding Parity, because I know G wasn't here for the last con. Me and Short have, but we'll have a different perspective on it. But G, it's time for D2. G, we did a great job. Short's really taking you home to basically every game except the Final Fours and a little bit of the finale. But we'll talk more about the D2 championship as we're starting to heat up on that as J July comes in very soon. Talk us through it, G. What we got going on here?
All right. So so last I checked, went through most of the tournament, had the first Final Four game going away between Myhill and Cyan. Really good game, all things considered, but it was Myhill who got the edge there. So Myhill gets back to the finale for the second time in his career, looking for some redemption here because he lost his appear 5-4 last time he was here, and then ultimately did not make the D2 championship. And then our second game was Bob Ross and Red, and that was also another really good game. Red actually started the game up 3-0, but Bob Ross slowly made his way back throughout, and then he won 3 games straight to get the win 5-4. So Bob Ross continues the upset run, and it's now Bob Ross Myhill in the finale. The game was supposed to happen Thursday, but then a baseball game ended up delaying it further. So, unfortunately, it's 3 rounds in a row where Bob Ross has some difficulty scheduling, which is unfortunate. It's valid reasons, but it's still a bit of a tough situation. So, we're still trying to reevaluate when that finale is going to be. It still could be Thursday, but it could be really late night Thursday. We don't really know yet, but since there's a bit of uncertainty there, we're going to jump to Justice July, which is Tournament 4, which I actually do have a sound clip of, although it's a very quick one. There you go. Ace Attorney reference. But tagline for this one, fate of people's seasons will be on the line. Because, again, you have to, with D2, Tournament 5 is a more limited field. You have to either have a Final Four or 5 wins in the first 4 tournaments to be in Tournament 5, which is the LCQ. So there's going to be a battle for that, but I want to focus more on the at-large conversation, because if we're going with the assumption that we have 4 different tournament winners, which, again, winner of Myhill, Bob Ross will be in the D2 championship, so that's something to keep in mind as well. But then after that, we'll have 1 more tournament winner, and assuming it's not a double winner, it's going to be 6 at-large spots, and we have a really interesting conversation for the bubble here, which I feel we could go through and just talk about these players, KT. So I'm going to start with the people. I'm going to start with the people with 8 wins, and again, I guess we could go back with Tournament 3. I know you're thinking Bob's going to get the win for the finale. I think Myhill will get the win, so there's a bit of a split there, but I guess we're backtracking a little bit. I guess thoughts on that finale game in specific and what it means for both players.
Bob needs it more. 6 wins is not going to get you in the top 10, especially if you lose this one. All it's going to take is a round 1 loss, and anyone can get hot down there because you just don't know the competition. He needs this more. Myhill at 8 is pretty safe. Even if he wins or loses, he's more looking at a top 10 spot. I know there's that top 4 guarantee auto promo, but they just get into the field, especially with how things are right now. You have chances double elimination. So Bob needs it more in that perspective. As for the field, it's crazy, man. There's a weird breakaway. The thing is, there is a breakaway because there are multiple guys with 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, right? And then there's 7, 7. There's a bunch of guys with 6. Couple 5, then it's just down. The rest, then it's the rest. There is a breakaway though, and that makes it a little bit interesting because it reminds me of what we had last year in Division 1. We just had a breakaway. This year there's no breakaway over here, but now you guys have a little bit of breakaway. I'm interested to see who can make a run. A lot of these guys now with 8 wins, it comes down to strength of wins. There's no quad system. Strength of wins, strength of losses, eye test, and of course head-to-heads, which still matter. But you kind of go through those names in a second, so we'll run it down as you go through.
All right, we'll start with the order I have here. Again, this is kind of based off the game wins at the moment. Some of it's a little unordered. I'm looking at it now, actually. But yeah, actually, no, there's one that I need to swap. I'll start with a bundle package here. 2 people who made the Final Four, and we still have to figure out who got 3rd between that one because both games went 9. King of Red, Cyan Titan, I mean, they're both looking into being pretty good spots. I know both would like to get those top 4 spots, which they're not necessarily locked into that right now. But they're they're definitely in the bubble conversation, but they're probably in the best spot at the moment. Any thoughts on those 2 specifically?
Sorry, did you cut out anything you said again? Sorry about that.
Thoughts on Red and Cyan?
Oh, okay. Cody Smart and yeah, that's true. You had to flip it around there. Cody Smart and Red. They've had consistent years. Looking at this, just pretty damn consistent in general. I think for Red, looking at this with the way the field is, if he can get around, well, I shouldn't say that because you never know what buys, but whatever the first time he plays, same with Cody Smart because they'll be up there. If they can get that win, I think they actually can start looking at locking themselves in the D2 chip in general. But if they want that top 4 spot, they probably have to think Sweet 16 just in case, because someone can get hot, and that's the thing. If someone gets hot, or J Money or EO get hot, those guys at the board at the bottom, then it gets really competitive for the top 4. It's interesting. The top 4 is almost a double. It's almost a singular double buy in a way, where it's a single buy, but it's also a double bind in a way where you get that extra promotion spot. You're guaranteed no matter what happens if you're top 4. So for that reason, I think both are going to look for the S16. They want that shoot for the stars moment. If not, if they're just content with being in the field, one more win should do it. And if they don't, I think with how their resumes are, they'll be at the back end, but you don't want to beat the back end 9-10 because then you're scrapping because it's very competitive for sure. That's my thoughts on them.
All right, Mael. I mean, you talked about him being pretty safe. I mean, again, let's for when we discuss them, let's make the assumption they lose. So when we get to Bob Ross, we'll make the assumption they lose. For Mael, your thoughts on where he'd be 8-2 at that moment with probably at least 40 wins.
Yeah, 8-2, and then if assuming they lose, maybe 83, 40 wins. Yeah, that's pretty safe. I think basically in the Red and Smart camp, pretty damn consistent, right? There's no glaring flaws. You got some head-to-head tiebreakers now. Oh, Cody, I believe, right? Yeah, so that's good.
Yes.
So that's another thing. So with that being said, because of that tiebreaker, Miles in a really good spot. If he would have, and that's what it was for Cody and Mai, whoever lost that game, especially if it was Mahel, then he'd be at 7, and then Cody would have got the 9, and then it's a whole different combo with 8-8 with a clear tiebreaker. It's the Nick Monkey thing. It's the same thing here. You have to weigh that option. Same thing, I think, for Mahel whenever he plays, unless he does indeed figure out a way to win this tournament here. It's going to be about getting to S16 to lock in. If he does win though, then shoot 9 wins, best of the class.
Tournament
all
win.
You're gonna need is, all you're gonna need is 1 win, 10 wins. That's going to put you in the top 4. I don't see anyone passing you with that resume with a TW. That's my thoughts on that.
All right. I mean, again, Lucas also at 8 wins, but he's already locked into the DC Championship, so he's not really in the bubble conversation. He's more of will he get a top 4 seed or not, which is, I guess, a different thing. But we'll jump down to who was number 1 in the first D2 reveal show. Probably won't be there in the next one. Ridley. Any comments on Ridley? 7 wins with a DQ win.
Yeah, it really basically had 7 wins with DQ. It's basically a combined, but similar season, right? This 40-win group, right on it, on the money. That's gonna be more. I think you have to be Sweet 16 or onwards to get into the top 4. I think for really though, you have to think about the equalizer in a sense. Is there enough tricks in the bag to make a deeper run than just a Sweet 16? That's why I have to look. There's a lot of good things I'm seeing in Ridley's game. Good ammo control, a lot of composure going the right way. But I think Taco made a good point with all these players, especially the players in this group here. They've got to find Plan GE. They gotta go past the album. They gotta go past Plan D because now you get in the championship season. It's about going to Plan GHI, and if you can start going to that level, you can start making a run. So I think that's the key for really build some more of that craft. Try to get to the Sweet 16. If not, even if you don't get there, even if you get 1 win or maybe even 2, right? Depending if you're not a buyer or not, that might be enough. So we'll see. Ridley's in that spot, and I think you didn't say the next person, but we'll keep it going.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Then we go to Ami here, who 7 wins, 3 losses, 36-24 in the game record. I mean, he's someone you could consider maybe on the bubble, but I think the biggest thing for him is he has a win over Cyan, which could help in the quality wins department.
Yeah, that's another thing too. See, a lot of these tiebreakers and that's the thing with Cody is you're losing head to heads, and all it's going to take is Ami to get 1 or 2 wins, and then you start losing out, and that's the thing. Quality wins is big for Ami. I think because of those quality wins, I'm going to put him in the upper echelon of the 6 mentioned. They're almost the top 6 in a sense, and then the other guys are going to really scrap. But for Ami, it's about consistency, finding consistency, because he didn't have any the first tournament. But then all of a sudden, a 4th and a 7th, and boom, the script is flipped. The script is flipped, and that's big. When the script can flip like that, it can be a whole different game changer. I think that's what Ami's got to look for moving forward. Find a little bit more consistency, but also keep that consistency and try to continue to get maybe 1 or 2 big splash wins and get yourself in to the top tier.
All right, jumping down to the 6-win group and starting with the 2 people who have a DQ win as well. Gio, who's been the most consistent so far, only player who's been in the top 10 of every single tournament and has the best average finish of the people who have been in all 3 tournaments so far.
Yeah, that's going to be a captain's feather. When you had that uber consistency, 5 + 5 is 10. That's pretty good. Right, that's good for Gio. Consistency is going to get you those brownie points, especially when there's no quads. I think for him, even with the DQ, I'm not worried about it because that consistency is just electric. You don't see that ever, especially in these modern day age. Because of that, I actually think Gio might be the one guy, even if he doesn't win the next one, let's say he just flat gets nothing, because of that uber consistent, even if someone gets on a heater, he might be able to sneak in as a 9th or 10th player, honest to God. So for him, he's on house money. If you can get 2 wins, you start thinking, well, compare everyone else with that uber consistency, you might be able to jump some people. 1, 2 wins, he starts thinking about getting to the upper pack because of that uber consistency. If he doesn't, he still may be safe, G, because there's not many players that are going to have a 5-5-10. I think Joao's got the 2-11, but at the same time, he didn't play T1, so that's a little bit of a misleading stat. Gio, every tournament's played, put my number on it, he's going to be in a good spot moving forward.
All right, let's jump. We're about to jump to Taco here, who also has 2 regional finals, but a little less consistent. Had a round of 32 exits in tournament 2, so that's a big difference for him. But still a decent average finish. But any thoughts on Taco?
Taco's got some weird wins this year. It's been about finding it, I think, just trying to find the groove. And I think for Taco, it's been hit or miss with the bot. There are games where he just hits it off and it's good, and then there's games where he gets nothing and he can find ways to win. There's games where he gets everything he can't find. So it's just been inconsistent on the craft. And I think he even admitted publicly, he said, "Hey, I gotta find plan GEF. You gotta dig deep, because at the end of the day, you can only go so far with plan A and B." And I think for Taco, it's gonna find a little bit of that. Because of the consistency being all over the board compared to, let's say, a Gio, maybe loses out on that. Still pretty decent season. I think it's going to be about placement. I can't really say if Taco will be on a bye or not. So because of that, for at least for the next tournament, because of that, it's going to be about just get that first round win, whether it be the second round when you actually play, or the actual first round, and then take it from there. Because I think 8 wins is enough to get you in the field. But for him, if he wants to make a D2 chip, solidify top 4 run, he probably has to think E8, honestly, guys. He's probably the first guy. E8's got to be the key, assuming he's on a bye.
All right, we'll jump into one of the 2 D2 championship players from last season, Weisbetter, who had a horrible start to the season, but has had a good rebound with back-to-back regional finals appearances.
Yeah, White and Pikachu are in the same category, just the 2 players that miss out from the promotional spots. White's on the rebound. He's definitely a good 6'5". It's a great combo off the start after his first round exit. I think White's dangerous here, G, because he knows this spot. He's the only player that really knew this spot. Maybe Luke as well with the LCQ, but White was the one guy in this group. He knows where to go, and because of that, he has that championship pedigree experience, despite not maybe getting the end result at the end of the year. Because of the experience, I gotta think he's the one guy to look at. And usually with EXP, you know how to get playoff wins in Game 6 and 7 in his next tournament, and then when he gets to the LCQ, or LCQ, or even he gets to the D2 champ out, you know how to get those big wins in those clutch moments. Watch out for White come T4. Thoughts?
All right, then we'll jump into Joao, who's an interesting case because didn't play in Tournament 1, joined in Tournament 2, made it all the way to the finale, lost to J Money. But I think the biggest thing for Joao is, despite missing a tournament, he has some really good wins, which is really helping him out a lot. I mean, has wins over Ridley, has a win over Aiden, which, I mean, Aiden, I think, is done for the season, so unfortunately, wish them the best, but still not bad. And then he also has a win over Rune, which is alright. But thoughts on Joao here, because, I mean, he's had 2 pretty good tournaments, all things considered. And then in the past tournament as well, I might as well try to pull this one up as well. I'm trying to remember who he beat in the past one. He did beat KGS and then made it to the round of 16. So, any thoughts on Joao here? I think he could be a wild card in this conversation.
Yeah, I took the words. He's a wild. I don't know if this is. I think we have a running joke. I don't think I picked him once ever in the analyst predictions. It's kind of funny. I don't do that intentionally. It's just I don't know. If I don't know you, it's hard for me to really say what's your game. I'm trying to study it a little bit more. It's weird because he has a really good front end feel of the games, in my opinion. He knows how to really get you on the front end of the games from, let's say, it's 5 to 8 cards from a 15 coming down. He's good at that front end middle feel. But then at the same time, with the lack of tournament, how do you really place that? Because top guys have the extra tournament. So it's going to be the old adage as quality over quantity, sure. And in a sense, he has more quality wins, but he doesn't have the quantity of tournaments. That's a tough debate. I don't know. Hard to really place him. It's a straight wild card, similar to B. Ross. Hard to read where they're at, but B. Ross is in a better spot because he's going to have one more opportunity coming up. I think he's going to have to be on the outside looking. He'll be the favorite. If he doesn't make the championship, he'll be a favorite. I will say this right off the top. He'll be a favorite coming in for sure.
All right. Well, I mean, we were about to go to Bob Ross, but would that cover your thoughts on Bob Ross specifically and what he needs to do, assuming he loses the finale?
he loses this, he's going to have a good loss, but he's going to have to find something. I think this is for him to have any shot at the D2 chip. He's going to have to potentially E8 it again. He has no consistency. It's been peak run city, right? This would be a second if he does indeed lose it here, and 23-47 to a second. It's all over the board. It's too all over the board, and when it's too all over the board, you better be thinking about going deep. And if you don't go deep, or you get on a round one exit, it's going to be nothing. Not much Bob can do. He'll have to just rely on the LCQ because you know someone from behind is going to make a move. And we also have Jay Money, which we'll talk about in a second, who's locked in. So, yeah, I got to say, Bob, he kind of needs this one more in the finale. But if he doesn't here, it's going to have to be deep, Elite Eight minimum, if not Final Four again for sure.
Well, I mean, we go to someone who lost the finale here and has kind of been nowhere since. Mark, February 40 finalist, didn't get the win there and now has not really gotten an actual win since that. Any thoughts on Mark here as he's kind of treading water at the moment?
Well, Mark has over 100 starts in this league. That's one thing to keep in mind. He does have over the 100 starts, so he's got the experience. I always talk about Mark playing that true rule style, which was the old school art. He's starting to ditch that a little bit, but he only ditched it for T1. T2 he did a good job, but T3 started to come back, which is weird. I know he lost to Short, right? Short beat him. So, Mark, if he can't get a win, he's locked in no matter what to the LCQ. For him, I think he's going to have to almost think these contenders are going to win one or two. You got to look at Final Four or make an Elite Eight with some damn good wins because I just don't think he's going to have enough leverage to beat some of these guys up top. It's going to have to be a massive run for Mark, or we're just going to see him as a top player in the LCQ, maybe a top 2 seed or something, because that's the best ceiling I can give him for right now, for sure.
All right. I guess we could go through our 2 tournament winners and then go for, I guess, 3 last people who would be maybe in the bubble picture. One of them is very far from the bubble picture, but they're in the LCQ. Luke, this is really more of a conversation of seeding per se. We're top 4. I mean, he has 8 wins, so he's in a good spot for top 4 right now, especially with the disaster that was tournament 2. He had a good rebound in tournament 3. Any comments on Luke?
Luke's got this ridiculous winter season, win the first tournament, and you can cruise a little bit. Didn't get it going T2, but he had a good rebound T3, and he's in automatically, I think, in the T2 chips. So for him,
yeah, he is.
top 4 spot, he's got with no quad resume, and you have a belt. That's going to matter more down here with that belt win, and you're at the top of the heap right now. Depending what happens with Mihail, of course, Mihail wins. He'll be the top of the heap. I think for him, honest to God, it might be just one more win. He might just need one more win. I think 9 with his resume, that's going to put him in. I think he should be good for top 4. If he loses round 1, then he's going to have to think about slipping a little bit, but it won't be a slip by J Money. It'll be more maybe 5th or 6th, or he might be the last guy in. So he's in a good spot. One more win should secure him. If not, then he's going to be sweating bullets. But Luke needs to find rhythm. That's his key. Find the rhythm and use this last tournament as a sniper tournament. Go out there, start being a sharpshooter for sure. And as for J Money, he's locked into the field, but G have 5 wins, and he's really all over the map. I know he technically played the first tournament, but he DQ'd. He never played really, and then he got a first. He's too. I know he's my guy, but he's too inconsistent. He's just going to have to be thankful that he won that tournament, because if he doesn't win that tournament, he's probably just going to be an LCQ spot. So for him, I don't know where he's going to be at. Personally, I think it's just about getting the field and play it from there. I don't think he's thinking about top 4. I think he's just thinking about getting the field, and we'll play it where it lies from there and see how the bracket shakes out as a top 10 player. That's what I got for him for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens to that, and then we'll just go to 3 more people. One of them is in the LCQ. The other 2 need one more win here. They might be outside fringe bubble contenders based off where they're at. We'll start with the 2 people who are currently not in the LCQ at the moment, Arnhem and the second of the season championship players from last season, Amazing Pikachu. Thoughts on both these players? I mean, Pikachu is kind of in a similar spot to where he was last season, where he just needs to get another win in this final tournament to make the LCQ. But this could be a situation where Pikachu goes back to the LCQ and maybe goes back to back, which would be kind of crazy. But any comments on these players? And could they maybe can they maybe spur up the bubble a little bit? They'd have to make deep runs, but they definitely could still be in the contention for an at-large.
Pikachu is dangerous. You don't want him in this spot. This is the guy I have circled like White that can make a ridiculous run. Pikachu has finale potential in any tournament he goes in there. We know that lightning quick style. It works down here. It does. And even if he gets up to the top, it can still work. The thing is, it's going to be about the draw for Pikachu. Can he control that lightning draw and actually get the hands he needs to get the finish? I don't know about Arnhem. Arnhem he's too all over the board. I don't really know too much about him. I've tried to look at his game. It's very sporadic. It's very first reading gone. I think out of these two, I'm going to have to say Pikachu's a threat. And even if Pikachu doesn't get even the D2 chip outright, even if he's in the LCQ, he's at home. He did it last year. Give me Pikachu no matter what. If he can get his first round win, get to that 5th win, and even if he calls it a night there, dangerous. You don't want to be playing him in an LCQ battle. That's my thoughts.
All right, and the last one we'll talk about here, and it's someone who has been on no man's land. They are really riding that Final Four from February. It's Bree, who only has 3 wins on the season. So, I mean, if they don't win a single game in Tournament 4, then that Final Four is going to prove more and more crucial for them staying alive. But, I mean, thoughts on Bree? They've just kind of been nowhere since that big run in Tournament 4. They were debuting in the tournament in February, but have just been nowhere since then.
I don't know. This is too hard to read for me, G, to be truthfully honest. This is a case of I was here to that loss. I made that one run, and I've been a lost puppy since. I'm not sure what to think about Bree. 52nd, 50. Yeah, I think it's not. I think it doesn't really matter. I think for Bree, it's going to be packing up, go to the LCQ. I don't see a run out of, unless something really changes. Probably will be playing round 1, so that's the only benefit. But at this rate, you're going to have to think for her to even think about a top 4 spot. You got to win the whole tournament next tournament, and then to even just get in the top 4. It's got to be a finale run. And even then, I think with the other guys, you got to assume we're going to win 1 or 2 games. I think her case is done for top 4. Realistically, her only chance is maybe a 9th or a 10th spot. And that has to be at least the minimum Final 4 run. And I haven't seen enough from her gameplay, despite that great game against, who was it, Red, I'm pretty sure?
It was Red, yeah.
Despite that great game against Red, just hasn't had much of a season. And that was back in February, of all things, in March. So we're now in June, July. You got to start heating up, and hasn't been enough of a heat turned up for Bree to put me in a good conference spot. That's my thoughts on that.
All right, well, that'll do it for the D2 Championship bubble conversation heading into Justice July. That's going to be a really exciting tournament to watch. We're going to have so many playoff games in a literal sense because for a lot of these players, if they don't win enough games in this tournament, their season is officially over. So going to be a lot of intense gameplay throughout. A lot of people want to be getting those wins. May see some desperation here or there. We know Fitzy's going to be back after missing tournament 3. I know Clint Green is going to want to go on a big run here. Showed he has some stuff in February, but hasn't really shown much since. We'll see if he could go on a crazy run. He has to make at least the regional finals to be able to make the LCQ, but we'll see. I mean, for a lot of these players who are currently not locked in, 5 wins is going to be the goal, or a Final 4, because some people it's Final 4 or bust. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a lot of desperation in the field, and it's going to be an exciting one to watch out for.
I'll throw one wild card name out there, Gian. I'm actually looking at one guy that might be able to make a run, and that might be... Yeah, I'll throw one wild. That's okay with you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'll throw Cap Gaming in the mix. Here's why. Because Cap Gaming, at the end of the season, is going to get a Grimland event, and he's talking about how excited he is for that. I would watch him, because there's a lot of actual momentum for him off the table that could translate in. He's the one guy who would actually be a little bit... Maybe laying in the weeds a little bit, right? Just on the top of the hill there, laying in the weeds and tall grass. I look for Cap Gaming to be the one guy to watch outside the pack to make a run. The rest, I would have said Aiden Smith, but as you said, we wish him the best. He's unfortunately just called it a day, and who knows about the other people. Clint is, God almighty, who knows what Clint's going to show up for Clint. That's going to be the thing with him. But regardless, that's my thoughts on the D2 Championship. Watch out for Cap Gaming way back there, for sure.
All right.
We'll go over to the last combo, G, and that's going to be good old Parity. Well, we talk about Parity. Me and Shaw were talking about it. He thinks it's great. As a host, I think it's great to see all these things. I understand you're signing out from a commission. Yeah, all these resumes are compiled, and it's our job to figure out the tools we have now, which is good. But at least we have the tools now. We're prepared for it. I had theories on why there's Parity. I know Cody Smart was talking about this with the media. Partially, it is one, we have so many players with 100-plus starts. Okay, there's 38 players, and soon to be probably more, probably 40, 41. Costa, I know, is close. Obviously, Ryder's close. Sting will get 100 this tournament, no matter what. So those guys are close. And then you think about the margins have shrunk. We don't have 4 power plays. We don't have 3 power plays. We don't have the field just being, all right, we knew in 2023 it's KT, it's going to be a Sanford, it's going to be you, it's going to be Arya. We just knew the contenders, even Lamas. We knew the contenders. We don't know the contenders anymore. These guys have evolved with the new bot. It's a new first-round platform. This is the first time we're using this platform ever. I know we used it last year for T5, but that was restricted mode. It wasn't full send. It was 2 command chain. It wasn't the full version. It was no card history was on. It was very limited, unfortunately. And then we had Super League, but not everyone had a chance to really get a grip of that. And a lot of guys have almost fizzled out in a sense in a weird way, and some have still stayed to the top. But it's a first year platform. It's too hard to know where the lines are going to be. I think this is like any regulation, racing or sports in general. When there's a regulation change, not relegation, regulation change or a platform change or something, the fray, it takes 2 to 3 years to figure it out. So I think this can still continue next year. And especially in a league where we have promotion and relegation, now these guys are going to have to adapt to this and the whole works of the upper end style D1 players, right? I think we're in a good spot. I'm not going to be shocked if we see it again next year. I'm more interested in 2027 because then we'll have a third year on this platform. And with that being said, I think that's when we start to see really the people really at the top that stay at the top are going to stay there. They're going to figure out something that the other players don't. But that's just my opinion. I think these next 2 years, buckle up, fasten your seatbelt. It's Parity City. Those are my thoughts. The only other thing I could think of why we're seeing a lot too is everyone sees the 0 and 1 players make a run. So what does that mean for the guys that have 0, 1, 2? I can make that same run, right? And if they can make the same run, confidence them that they're not out of it. And that also is a little bit of an X factor. When you see your peers making runs like that, it naturally puts you in an endorphins position. And adrenaline, I still can make a run too. And that's the great part about this league is if you see your peers doing it, why can't it be me? Put that on the jersey. I'm next, right? And that's the great thing too. But I want to give your thoughts on this. I'll let you have a couple minutes because me and Short had this comment in the last episode. Your thoughts on the pair. I know it's tough as a commission member with the list and all that, but at the same time, if it happens, it happens. But
I think you cut off towards the end there.
No, you're good. You're good. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone on record saying I don't love the amount of parity. I don't think parity is a bad thing on principle, because, I mean, if there's no parity, then it's like the same person winning over and over again, which is, like, really boring, which we don't want. But I think if we have this much parity where we have people where it's like, oh, well, these are the people you think are contenders, but actually the contenders are the people who are at the bottom. So when you see that, and like when the focus starts shifting now towards looking at the bottom that's able to see who's going to win the tournament, I think that starts becoming a bit of a problem. And it also makes it an issue where, for me at least, if you have all these people who are all doing well, then it's like, how are you supposed to have a contender coming out of the trenches to be that main storyline, I guess, for that? Because ultimately, no matter what you do, when there's a competition in any principle, there's always storylines that get created out of it. But you mainly want your characters, right? And if you just have your characters just like, oh, it's just everyone, there's like nothing specifically, then it's like there's not really a storyline to follow. It's more of just like a trend, which, again, I mean, some people like seeing trends and whatnot, but that's a whole different conversation. That's not how everyone views, I guess a competition sense. But I don't think parity on principle is bad. I just would like to see a little less parity. I'd like to see a little bit more of some of the cream rise to the top, which I think we did kind of see in Tournament 4 last season. So maybe they'll have it again this season, where we'll see who are massive contenders could be going into the Super League phase of the season. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to watch out for. I hope the chaoticness goes down a bit also, because I think part of it as well is part of it feels like you're kind of just throwing names in the box, rattling it, and then just picking a random name out, which I don't think is always great. Again, Uno, not necessarily a game where it's 100% skill, so that can happen sometimes, but I do like when there's moments where you could definitely see the skill aspect of it, with how you manage your cards and whatnot. So I do hope to see a little bit more of I guess the upper tier, more of the upper tier doing well, instead of all the upper players getting out in the first round and then just every single person at the bottom is still in. I think having a mix of it is good. I just don't like it when it's all of one side, which I think right now, ironically, we've been seeing all of the bottom side like doing really well going into a tournament, and the top side just does not great, which kind of creates this whole parity discussion. So we'll see how Tournament 4 goes. I think with my predictions, I kind of gave it where it was like a bit of that mix I'm hoping for, but again, it's just kind of how it goes, and every single player who's still here at the end of the day is wanting to win, and that's always a good thing. And I guess I will concede the point also where you see those people who are at 1-0 wins make it the Final Four. I think that gives some motivation for some of those people at the bottom, which you can see sometimes where like they get demotivated. So I do think that's a good thing at the end of the day, but I think just in terms of a competition perspective and also just deciding the playoff field at the end of the season, just since we technically run it similar to like March Madness or the NCAA where like it's decision making, I'd like to see a little bit more straightened out instead of it being wobbly all over the place. But I guess those are just my quick thoughts on the parity discussion right now.
Last year we saw the opposite, right? We had a breakaway. It was Brad, it was KT, it was Ashley, it was, like you said, Sapir made a run, Tago made a run. It was the breakaway. We saw it, and that was great for the sport. I thought that I personally loved it too. I love seeing that because you have 6-7 guys. One of those you think at the end they will have a deserving regular season champion, a deserving champion. We got that. We had a deserving champion. Right this year, I wouldn't be shocked if we get somebody out of the blue makes it. Could be an MLB style run. Someone can get hot or a real March Madness style where someone can get high and they make a finale again. You don't know. There's different courses. There's different horses for every, and there's different. What is the other word? Not different horse for different courses, and there's different. Vapor said it one time. I'll have to ask him. He said something really good. It was college football reference. But regardless, I think it's going to be, like I said, a long drought to get to that main character in a sense, to get to that top field. I think we're going to look at that T5. Maybe we'll see. Starting to see a little bit with the top 6, but it's not big enough to say, all right, it's clear. There's no one that has more than 8 wins, and that one guy that has 8 wins is Nick, and he's locked in. And at this point, to kind of preface this, last year, I'm pretty sure Ashley had 10 wins. Okay, 10 wins was the number one player. We're 2 wins less. And I'm pretty sure the bubble last year, we're at 4 or 5 right at 5. Ironically, I think the bubble last year was about the same. But we have less of a topper feeling. It's just closer. The regulation changed to the new bot. I think CSR 2G is another thing, too. Now that's in the Final Four, something I forgot to mention. That worked well, I thought. The Final Four finale, they'll now be called the Ashley rules, I think. We're going to make that in the offseason. But those Ashley rules now, to honor champ, that new CSR, basically, for the Final Four finale. It's another little twist to the game. I think this is the tournament. If we're going to see the breakaway, it's now. If it's going to be any tournament, it's going to be Tournament 4. We always joke in the league, Tournament 4 is moving day at the Masters. Well, it's moving day here in the league. If you can't figure it out now, then it's game. And if we get no movement, and it is once again the 2-win guys make a run, so be it. It's our job to figure it out. And if we have to figure it out, so be it. But at the same time, I still have hope for either side that as a host, we'll either get the breakaway, or if we don't, we can at least revel in the fact that we've got guys that are motivated, at least for the most of the season. Some of the guys that just left, there's nothing you can do about that. We couldn't control the personal or private matters or whatever. That's stuff we have to respect. This other stuff, though, we can only control what we control. The bubble's going to tighten up, and so will the guys from 10th through 25th. It's wide open. That's going to do it for the pod. Check us out, Jackpot June. We'll have the next episode hopefully soon. We'll have a little bit of a downtime next week. It'll be a quick round. We don't have as many games, 25 games. G and the crew should get ready for J July. Probably going to start towards what, G? I'd say June 27th or 6th, somewhere around there. 25th maybe, depending on that finale. Should be good on that one as well. To get into that, roll into some D2 championship as well.
Probably earlier.
Yeah,
just going to jump in. Probably earlier, like 21st, 22nd. Actually, no, not 21st. Probably 22nd, 23rd. Something like around that.
About 2 weeks from when we're recording this. That makes sense. So we'll see you in 2 weeks for that as we start to wind down the D2 season. Check us out. Check us out on your home base YouTube. And for G and myself, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you back here with a little recap of the Split 64 and welcome those people back from Bond Island for Tilbury 2. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of a preview of D2 champions. And that'll have a picture clear and dandy. Good night, everybody. We'll see you around.